Good evening, guys. KB5 MIQ Big Boy. It's Saturday night. Been a busy day. Hauled some calves at the sale barn today, so any of y'all mad about how high briskets are, I'm the fault of it. I can't help it. Hey, I'm Radio Cat. Thought we'd talk a few minutes tonight about something I've kind of talked about several times before, but I still see guys asking questions about it. And we're going to talk a little bit about on-air etiquette for both VHF, UHF local repeaters and HF. So let's talk right now about your local repeaters, whether they're VHF 2 meter, UHF at 440, 70 centimeters, however you want to call it. And we're going to talk about linked repeaters. It's real easy, guys. Just don't call CQ on a repeater. If you're new to FM repeaters and you got a local repeater and you wanted to see if anybody's around, just throw your call out. For instance, say KB5 MIQ monitoring, and just unkey and set it down. If somebody's available to chat, they'll usually respond back. Or if you're mobile, just throw your call sign out with the word mobile, like KB5 MIQ mobile. That'll work. And somebody else, just have a little chit chat. Just back and forth chit chat, sign off with your call sign. It's real easy. It's nothing real hard to do about it. Now, let's talk a little bit about linked repeaters, and those are really popular all over the country now. And I don't have any problem with them. But because they breathe life into a bunch of repeaters that didn't had any use on them in a long, long time. Because after the 2000s, when cell phones become popular, repeaters almost went by the wayside. And there's still a lot of repeaters you won't hear traffic on. And like I said in some of my earlier videos, y'all have heard me talk about taking my dad out to Hazel, Texas, which is the other side of Fort Worth. In 1 year's time, there's repeaters in every town, major town between there. I probably went through 8 repeaters, and I had like 3 QSOs in a year. So very, very little traffic on a lot of repeaters. Linked repeaters, though, you need to remember, whenever you make a transmission on a linked repeater, every repeater that's linked, it's going to come out on. So you're going to tie up every repeater. Good, for instance, like 147.20 up here at New Boston and a 146.62 in Texarkana are linked, which is real handy for us down here in this end of the county if we need to talk to somebody in Texarkana because you got a linked repeater. But remember, I make a point not to be long-winded on a repeater because you're tying it up. Other people may need to use it. My suggestion, if you're close enough to each other that you could have your long QSO on a simplex channel, make your initial contact on your repeater. Hey, let's go to a 146.54 simplex. You get off, have all the conversation you want, you're not tying the repeater up. We all monitor simplex. Actually, we monitor 146.54 is what we monitor around here. And now on Tuesday night, instead of 10 meters, we do 2 meter Tuesday on 146.54. Now, a lot of people will tell you, there's 146.52 is a calling frequency. And I've never understood if it's dead and you start talking to somebody, invariably somebody will tell you, you can't have a QSO here, it's a calling frequency. This is a band plan, all right? I urge you to get you a band plan. You can print them off ARRL, this little thrifty, this little Mr. Nifty book band plan, weatherproof, easy to take with you. I highly recommend you as a new ham, get you a band plan and follow it. Band plan is kind of the suggestion to keep communications going smoothly. It's not ironclad law, but you'll have better ham radio experience if you follow the band plan. All right. Florida, for instance, that last big hurricane had there in South Florida, for some reason they have a lot of their repeaters all across the state linked, and they had some QRM problems. And a lot of it was unlicensed hams getting on the air. That's one issue. Another issue was, I think the big issue is they had so many repeaters linked that the repeaters that were out of the path of the hurricane, out of the damage path, way away from it, were still being tied up with emergency comms, and these people might not have realized it. To me, there ought to have been a way they could just link up the ones they needed, but I wasn't there. But just remember, when you're on a link system, every repeater is going to hear your conversation on it. That's just the way it is. And I like them. A lot of people run them down, and I like them because it breathes life back into unused repeaters. Now, there's another digital mode that you techs got access to. If you got your hotspot and a fusion capable radio like this FT70 Yaesu here, you get in these rooms, have a conversation in the room. Everybody does it. And they're all over the country and all over the world. You can talk to people in them. Another good way to make contacts and have good conversations. Now, HF etiquette. If you're going to have a ground wave group like we do, it's just simple. Take turns talking, nothing big about it. Give you ID every 10 minutes like you're supposed to. For DX, I've talked about this before with DX. A lot of guys complain about the pile-ups, the high-powered stations knocking them off. They're keeping them from making contacts. Listen. Before you ever try to work a DX station, especially one that's got a pile up on it, listen to them for 10 or 15 minutes if the band's holding on, because you will figure out what this guy's taking. And I guarantee you'll find this to be true. He's either going to take the loudest one he hears, he's going to take the first station he hears, or the last station he decides he hears, for however long he decides to listen. That's why if you listen to him, listen to the people throwing their calls out. Listen to who he takes, and that'll help you get a pattern down. I worked a rare DX station a year or so ago on 17 meters simply because I waited for the three guys with the amps to make their contact and go on. Then that'd have been a problem. Don't rush it. Take your time. Another good way to make contacts on HF and get used to operating on HF is POTA. A lot of hams hate POTA. I think it's great. Come on, Indy. Show your ham radio cat. Come on. I think POTA's great. POTA's a good way to get your work to all states. It's an easy way to do it, and it helped me get a state or two I liked. So work POTA stations. Good way to practice on pile-ups, good way to get some information out, and good way to make contacts on HF. The main thing I want to stress to all you new guys is this. Get on here. Have some fun. You're going to make a mistake. And if a sad ham gives you a dressing down on the radio, just listen to what he's complaining about, but don't take the manner in which it was given and try to learn from it. And all else fails, spin the dial and go someplace else. Guys, that's about all I can think of for right now. Getting closer to getting this Buckmaster antenna put up. I want to check with a guy next week about some poles. If not, I'm going to go get some new ones and try to get that thing up next couple of weeks. Y'all remember Main Trading Company? I think they've gone down to hamcation this week or next weekend in Florida. But they got all kinds of sales going on and takes all kinds of trade-ins and lots of used gear on this place. And if you call up there, check on something and you heard about it here, be sure and tell them you heard about it on Big Boy's channel. Guys, we're at 1,793 subscribers. I appreciate it. You can help the channel out just by spreading the word, subscribe, and I really appreciate it. KB5 MIQ Big Boy 73. And as usual, I forgot something. Going to put a video on here of a young man, WD5HKV's grandson, Trip. He's hanging out with his granddad in there I think he's going to end up making a ham radio operator out of him yet, but he wanted a ham radio cat t-shirt, so we fixed him up. So there'll be a picture of Trip here at the end of the video. Thank y'all.